Hey there, Sandy Freshie here, back with another video. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is about the sacral response. So if you're a generator or a manifesting generator and you feel like you have never had a sacral response in your life, this video is for you. Also, if you are observing generators and manifesting generators or trying to help them get in touch with their sacral response, perhaps some of my observations will help you as well. So before we get started, I just want to invite you to like this video. You watch it, like it if you like it, share it if you think someone can benefit. And of course, if you're not subscribed, please hit that little subscribe button and the bell so that you're notified when new videos are uploaded. So on with our topic of the sacral response. And in particular today, we're going to talk about the grunt, the sacral, the generator grunt. And in some of Ra Uruhu's writings, and you may catch him on video talking about sacral beings, especially generators, and he talks a lot about how sacral beings, generators in particular, grunt their way through life. Now, I don't know about you, but I very rarely hear a grunt from a generator or a manifesting generator. And those of you who are manifesting generators, you may actually have another kind of a sacral response that comes spontaneously out of your mouth. But let's dig into the nuances of this grunt. And what got me thinking about this is I was reflecting upon my father, who was a manifesting generator. And when I was a little girl, he had this jalopy of a truck that he would take back and forth to work. He worked away from home during the week, and then he would come back on the weekends. And a lot of times he would have to do something to that truck over the weekend to get it to get him to work the following week. So I was his mechanic's assistant when I was a little girl. And I remember how he actually would grunt when he was fixing his truck, when he was, tightening the bolts and all of that. And I was reflecting upon how different that was from the expression of frustration, because for him, there were these frustrating moments during his struggle to fix whatever it is he needed to fix or tune up whatever it was that he needed to tune up. And I want to just share with you the difference so that you can start to maybe tune into that, whether you're in a sacral body, a defined sacral vehicle, or whether you're observing a generator or manifesting generator. The expression of frustration is very different from the expression of the sacral response. And for this particular example, my father's expression of frustration was very much in explicatives that I cannot say on YouTube. So you can imagine sometimes what would come out of his mouth when maybe he tightened something too tightly and it broke off, or he dropped the bolt, or he dropped something. It would come out either in cursing or some kind of frustrated expression that was not a grunt. But I remember also those times when it was coming together for him. Let's say when he was tuning up his carburetor or doing something like that, and it was really coming together and it was flowing for him, and he was tightening down that bolt, or he was putting it all back together, and those last little physical things that he was doing, I remember those grunts, those and that's the sacral response. I see it in my husband as well, who's a generator, a pure generator. And no, actually, he's an emotional generator. I take that back. But when I'm watching him do his physical work, like one of his hobbies is welding, and he is maybe getting all of his stuff together. You know, he doesn't, I can't hear him when he's welding, but when he's getting all of his stuff together, or when he's, you know, tightening something together, putting something together, wiring it together after he's welded it, you know, I can hear the grunts when he's doing that. And then also, the frustration that comes out of his mouth is very, very different. It can be in explicatives too, or it can, you know, it can just be something else that is usually in words. So those, tune into that when you're feeling into your own sacral response, and when you're feeling into someone else's, or when you're observing someone else's, and see if you can figure out or observe when they're in frustration, or when you're in frustration, and when there's satisfaction that's being expressed through the grunt. I also want to just share with you my observation about why it's hard to catch sacral beings in their sacral grunt. And that is because all generators and manifesting generators, or actually most, I don't want to like say everybody, but most generators and manifesting generators who are not consciously cued in and practicing cued in and consciously paying attention to their sacral response will not grunt in public. And that's just because of the way that society is, and the way that polite people interact with each other, right? You know, if you know, if a generator came in to a social setting and started grunting around, you know, let's say it's a cocktail party, and they started grunting while they were eating some really delicious dip, that might not be very well, you know, that people would look at them like they're crazy. But so then there are these other subtle things, if they're expressive enough and they allow themselves to be expressive enough, that may come out like and oh, and those kinds of things, but not always. And that could actually be because of the way their throat is or isn't wired, you know, or via a channel to another center or to a motorized center. It could be because the throat is undefined, or it's not motorized in the case of a generator. Or it could just be because they've been taught and they've been conditioned to understand that other people will look at them funny, and they might not get invited to other cocktail parties if they start grunting and making these sounds. So it's hard to catch a sacral being in a social setting actually in their generator grunt. But watch yourself if you're a sacral being, or watch sacral beings when they're doing physical work, or when they're playing you know, playing a game, like you know, playing at sports, or you know, let's say you're playing tennis with another sacral being, or if you're not a sacral being, you know, you're playing tennis with a sacral being, you're going to hear those grunts. So just some thoughts, just some things to put into your human design experiment. I'd love to know if you are a generator or manifesting generator, if you've caught yourself grunting, and how and when that happens. And those of you who are observing sacral beings, what have you noticed about generators and manifesting generators and their expression of satisfaction and frustration? Does it come out in grunts? How does satisfaction express itself, or how do they express satisfaction, and how do they express frustration? All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, be well.